Hi guys, welcome to 5th episode of our podcast At the End of the Day. I'm Anuz Thapa.
And I'm Dipika Shrestha, and with us today is Thwiba Eltom. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
We have Hudson River behind us, and there's a lot of construction going around, so forgive us for all the noise. Thwiba is from Sudan, and she has been in the US from the year 2014. While in Sudan, she was working in the human resources profession, and right now she's working as a project manager in Workforce Development Corporation.
And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about Thwiba's journey to find her career in USA.
You currently work as a project manager in the Workforce Development Corporation. What kind of organization is this?
So it's a non-profit that's work. It's one of the city agencies. So the initiative that I'm part of is working with the tech sector because it's very growing. So we are trying actually to help New Yorkers get the skills that they needed in order for them to succeed and for employers in New York City to hire locally from New Yorkers.
So let's get into the time when you came to America for the first time, 2014.
Yes.
So tell me more about that journey.
So when we moved in here, I moved with my family and I was heavily pregnant at that time.
Oh,
so that was another challenge because for me, it wasn't just like moving into a new country, like leaving my family, but there was also the, I have a son and that was my second child. It was hard, it was really hard because when I moved, my background in Sudan, I did an MBA in Sudan and I worked there for a large telecommunication company that's operating in the Middle East and Africa. So when I moved in here, I thought that, it'd be easy for me. I'm just gonna do my GMAT, get another MBA, and just go to school and have this work for one of the big consultancy company, human capital. So I had a lot of dream about that.
Right.
But at that time, I wasn't even sure if those are my dreams. It's just what I thought that it would be matching my skills and my background, but also what I thought that would be that would sustain a better future for me and for my children. So with the birth, having a new child, a baby was really it was very overwhelming. Started thinking of my future. I took the GMAT for the first time, and I think I'm sharing this story for the first time, and I failed. That was I think that was one of the very devastating moments to me because it was very frustrating. And for me, as someone who used to be always the highest of class, you're always smart. People are saying that you're smart.
Yeah.
So this is what I was questioning my own ability at that time of why I failed. It shouldn't be going that way, and I couldn't even try it again because I had that feeling that it was too much for me. So then after that, I started figuring out if I want to do this, what? The question for me, I want to get to one of the elite schools, I want to do my MBA, but the question is why I want to do that.
Why you want to do that?
So I start thinking we're thinking about the tools, but not actually the purpose, what is my goals out of this? And when I started asking myself the question, I couldn't find an answer because it wasn't clear for me what I want to do. I think when you come from a technical background, for example, if you are an engineer or a doctor or you have a very specific technical career path that you want to follow, so it's very clear for you.
Exactly.
But when you come from a non-technical background,
Very interesting.
this is the kind of the question that you're going to ask yourself. For me, so it's not a technical background. I did a lot of things. They might call it here consultancy, but it's just not clear what does that mean, So I start thinking of what I want to do, and I decided to take a break with my baby and just try to understand the city, improve my language, and work on so I started taking some English classes, just going on the neighborhood, trying to just have that kind of peace of mind.
Right, Thwiba, let me just pause
Yeah.
you there. So you took some English classes too?
Actually, I went to the library first because I know that the library has a lot of resources.
You mean any of those public libraries?
Public library.
Yeah.
I took some classes in there. It wasn't enough because it was just a one-day conversational classes. So then I went to and their level of English classes was just not what I'm looking for, and that's what they advised me to look for another classes. So I went to the English Speaking Union. It's a great program. But for me, actually, that's one of the challenges. When you have a child, you don't have the freedom of deciding how much time do you have. So that I just had to wait for someone to take care of them. Their father would take care of them sometimes on the weekend. So I had to actually, so I had to manage that. So I wasn't able to take a lot of classes.
Right.
But it's a great program.
So how long did you enroll yourself in English?
It's it was a 1 year.
1 year program?
Yeah, it was a 1 year, but I was only doing the weekend program.
What next after that?
So after that, I started one moment of my frustration, I think, after all of the job search and all of the university that I applied for, I didn't get through. So I decided, I was looking for some article about like how immigrants are integrating. So I read the MPI, the Migration Policy Institute. So they publish a very good report. So I started like reading some of those reports about how immigrants are integrating in the US, and I found about Upworthy Global. And Upworthy Global is a non-profit organization that's helped skilled immigrants to get back into their profession in the US.
Upworthy Global.
Upworthy Global, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking for this, and I found, oh wow, that's a great mission. I want to see what's that. At that time, I wasn't even looking for a job because I thought that for you to get a job, the only way is to get into school first.
Mm.
So I wasn't even thinking about getting a job, but I thought, why? I want to give it a try and see what it's at. And then when I went in there, they told me, no, you don't need to go to school if you have an MBA before. It's a good thing that you want to go to school, but you want to figure out first, like, what is your career option, what you want to do. So I started volunteering and do an internship with them. And then I get a part-time job. At that time, with Upworthy Global.
So that is so interesting.
Yeah.
So you started volunteering for Upworthy Global.
Yeah, like
and it led you to a part-time job at Upworthy Global.
Upworthy Global, yeah.
So yeah,
yes.
You should like always think about that, you know.
Yes.
Sometimes it always starts with volunteering.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Let's go
Yeah.
on.
So it was like an unpaid internship or anything. You can just go and ask people, how can I help? You know, that's always the best access. Yeah.
How can I help?
How can I help you? Like if there is any way, I have the skills, I have this, qualifications, and so I went in there. So I started a part-time job at that time as an outreach, as an onboarding associate. So my goal was just like talking to immigrants, talking to people, and have them coming to the program.
Right.
So that was very enriching experience for me, because at that time that I was struggling, you can hear a lot of stories from people who are coming all over the world, and they do all sharing the same struggle about like finding a job here in the US.
Yeah.
And I was impressed about the qualifications, people with PhDs, like with master's degree. It was just hard, like just listening to those stories. So that's kind of like motivate me to look deep into what I want to do,
Yeah.
and how I can actually navigate that. So I think this is where I start realizing how I can fit my upload experience into my career. And that's actually a very important point. I think through your journey, when you move in here, you might not get into the job that you want, but the question is how this is related to what you are looking for in the future.
Interesting.
And then more and more, the question about having my goals become clear. I think one of the best things happened to me is find, like through Upload is my advisor, and now she's my friend Abigail. You need a mentor, and that was Abigail. So she was like my mentor. So she helped me on understanding like what I'm looking for, and how this is related. So I think for some people who get that confusion, especially if you're coming, as I said, from a non-technical background, try to look for a mentor, look for someone who can actually guide you. I would say
Thwiba will continue to share us her story, and she will tell us what exactly she means when she says one should have a mentor.
Yes, definitely. And she will be talking about how to find someone who can guide us in our career.
We will continue our conversation with Thwiba in the next episode of our podcast. So make sure you listen to her journey in the next episode as well. And we hope you find this conversation really helpful.
Yes, keep following our podcast at the end of the day.